What if the very thing that sets you apart is the key to everything you're striving for? Welcome to Uncommon Edge, the podcast for those who are done with the ordinary and ready to own what makes them different. I'm DJ Neuman, and if you're here, it's because you know you're built for more. You're uncommon by design, ready to break boundaries and build a life of purpose, success, and impact. Each week, we'll dive into hard-hitting strategies, raw stories from the trenches, and the tools that will sharpen your edge. From game-changing lessons to deep-diving interviews, this is your space to rise up, build, and make your mark. Whether you're growing a business, dreaming of starting one, or looking to level up in life, you'll leave each episode with insights and inspiration to make it happen. You weren't designed to blend in, you were designed to stand out. So if you're ready to defy the norm and bring out your best, let's dive in, get to work. Your journey to owning your uncommon edge starts now.
Most people are working hard to reach a level of success their identity won't allow them to sustain. The truth? You don't get what you want, you get who you are. Before we dive in though, if you're someone with an uncommon story, breakthrough, or a lesson that could light someone else's path, I want to invite you to be a guest on the show. Go to uncommonedgepodcast.com and tell me your story. Let's make your edge someone else's permission slip to grow. All right, this isn't a skill issue, though. This isn't even a strategy issue. It's a self-image issue, is what we're talking about in this episode today. See, people sabotage their progress because deep down, they're trying to win with an outdated operating system. Warren Buffett always said, the most important investment you can ever make is in yourself. Not your team, not your stocks, not your funnel, but you. This episode is about upgrading your inner identity to match your outer life you say you want. With help from legends like Myron Golden, Tony Robbins, James Breckenridge Jones, and many more throughout my journey, I have a handful of lessons that I want to bring to you today with some jam-packed things. So I want to start with this idea that identity is the ceiling, not the strategy. See, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems, and your identity is the deepest system of them all. Your self-image is the thermostat of your life. You automatically return to whatever you set it at. And that starts with what you accept, whether that's accepting it from yourself or accepting it from others around you in your social circle. I recently heard this thing about there's a difference between being a nice guy and a good man. And I kind of always thought it was the same thing, one and the same. But how it was explained to me is, see, a nice guy will tolerate the bullshit in and around him. It might tolerate things being said to him or disrespect that might be there, just puts up with it, so to speak. Whereas a good man will set the standard and set the records straight. It is a really interesting thing to think about this because, see, in this explanation, it's not the fact that you have low standards for yourself. You might have very high standards, but see, your standards are actually what you accept. I'm going to let that sink in again. Your standards are what you accept. Now, this is something that you might not have realized because, like I said, you might have really high standards for yourself, but what are you tolerating? What are you accepting that is the whole thing with this initial thing about the identity ceiling? What are you accepting from yourself? What is it that you're believing? What stories are you telling yourself that you are accepting? Or those around you that you are accepting? And I want you to really think about this in the way of like a lottery winner, for example. Have you ever heard of the lottery winner effect? They lose it all, not because of knowledge, but because their identity didn't rise to their income. There was a TV show even a while back that the lottery ruined my life because they maintained the image that they had back in the day when they were poor or had a less income. And now all of a sudden they had this massive income, but they weren't that person yet. They didn't know how to manage the money. They didn't allow this to happen. And see, what happens is money becomes a magnifying glass. It amplifies who you already are. So if all of a sudden you get this massive amount of money and you don't have your mental systems in place and you aren't who has a lot of money, then all of a sudden it amplifies that. If you're a bad person, the money amplifies that you're a bad person. If you're a good person, it could amplify that it's a good person. But if you don't have the systems in place to do that, that ends up hurting you in the long run. See, Warren Buffett always talked about that self-improvement. He preaches how the Dale Carnegie course that he took was one of the most profound investments that he ever made because it enhanced his communication. And working on who you are, not just what you do, is a major investment. I've watched people scale businesses, but they stay stuck mentally, and eventually the business ends up shrinking to match. This happens all over the place. There's actually a theory that if you took all the money in the world and you divided it equally amongst every living human being, eventually, over a curated amount of time, the money would find its way back to the people that have the most money. Why? Because the identities that are associated with it, the actions, the behaviors, all the things that happen to make that happen. See, Myron Golden, if you're not familiar with him, I highly recommend you go check him out. But Myron Golden breaks this down clearly that you must first be before you can do, and then, and only then, you can have. What does that mean when he says be, do, have? See, most people actually live backwards. They have, do, be. They want to buy the things or have the things. And if I have the thing, well, then I'll do the thing so then I can be the thing. And that's just not how it works. That's not how the law works of manifestation or just the law of attraction or anything that comes into play. You have to become the person who you naturally would create that result through their actions. And this isn't pretending, this is actually alignment. See, when I shifted from how do I get this to who do I need to be, things started moving a little bit faster. And that all came from hanging around people that actually think like that. Like we talked about the crab trap before. If you hang around people that don't understand this mentality of be, do, have, it all breaks down for you. Now, I'm a kind of guy that likes to deep dive into the origins, and I've talked about some of my mentors in the past, and a lot of them point back to this guy that I'm going to talk about right now, James Breckenridge Jones. See, he's one of the OGs of personal development, and he had this 4-step identity framework that really launched a lot of the greats that you may know, like Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn and Darren Hardy and even Grant Cardone and all these other people that have done this. It origins from this mentality of if you can just count to 4. And he had this 4-step process. And if you can just count to 4, J.B. Jones said that if you give a blueprint for becoming your future self, this simple, profound, dangerous in the right hands mentality, because it's so simple. I'm going to run this through with you right now. See, step 1 is just identify what you want. See, clarity is magnetic. You don't name it, you can't claim it. If you can't clearly identify what it is that you want, you'll never be able to have it. So the first thing is get super, super crystal clear about what it is that you want and what you need. And which are often 2 different things, by the way. But get really clear on what you want. And then step 2 is pretend you're already there. Now, see, this isn't fake it till you make it. I don't want you to fake it at all. I want you to behave it. Let your actions prove the identity before your results do. You just need to be it until you see it. See, the only way that it's fake is if you don't believe it. And I know we've talked about this a few times, but it's worth saying again. What you think is what you say, and what you say is what you do, and what you do ultimately becomes your reality. And that reality manifests everything else that you're going to see in life. And that is the story you're telling yourself. What are you telling yourself? And you have to pretend that you're there. and behave that you're there. And then it'll ultimately become. I know right now you might be either practicing this already and you're like, yep, D, that's true. Or number two is you might be thinking, well, no, it doesn't feel right to me. Well, I'm going to challenge you. Just try it. And this is the thing. If you can do it for 21 days, that's where habits kick in. And that's where the true magic starts happening. But while you're going through, step one, identifying what you want, and step two, pretending you're already there and acting as if you're already there. Step three is be decisive. Your identity is shaped by your decisions, especially the small ones nobody sees, the seemingly insignificant choices that you make every day. See, you have the choice to say yes or to say no. And I know a lot of times it's easier said than done. Maybe you don't want to disappoint the person, or maybe you care what other people think. But this is the time where you have to make decisions based on who you are behaving as. If you just act as if it's already happened, it's going to eventually already happen. Dale Carnegie was always famous for saying, if you just act enthusiastic, you will be enthusiastic. And the same goes for exactly what we're talking about here when it comes to managing your self-identity. Your identity is shaped by the decisions, and you have to first decide to act. That is a huge thing. And then actually carry out the actions. What are you saying yes to? What narratives are you believing? What are you saying no to? A lot of times it comes to saying no more than saying yes. What are you already doing that you have to get rid of? I'm pretty sure we talked about this before in previous episodes. And then number 4 is listen to your subconscious. Step 4 is listen to your subconscious. Once you align your brain, it will start showing you what you've already been missing all along. There's going to be like little hidden subconscious things that are going to start to pop its way out. Matter of fact, there's an exercise Tony Robbins does, and we're going to talk about Tony in a second, but one of the things he does is this exercise of colors. It's this color exercise. And I want you to just close your eyes for a quick second. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. But just look at all the different things that are red around you. Identify all the red things that are around you. Look. All these things are red. Now, I want you to open your eyes and look for all the things that are blue. Now, what just happened? You may have just seen a lot more red things that you didn't see initially while your eyes were closed, but now all of a sudden you're noticing all these blue things. See, it's all boils down to you will get what you look for. But in order for your subconscious to start looking for the things that you want, you have to identify it, pretend that you're already there, be decisive in the actions that you're taking towards that thing, and then your subconscious will start to take over the rest. See, your subconscious is Google, if you really think about it. If you never enter in the right question, you can't give you the right answers, or ChatGPT or whatever the thing is now that you're looking at for your answers. But if you don't have the right questions initially to put in there, you're going to get garbage back. And your subconscious is like a computer program. It's going to give you the outputs that you put into it. So if you're putting garbage into it, it's going to continue to give you garbage out. See, your story is a script. And the best thing about a script is you're the director and you can change it at any time. See, you're not stuck. You're just repeating the story you haven't questioned in a long time. What do you mean by that? See, Tony Robbins has a mentality of the strongest force in human nature is to remain consistent with who we believe we are. Who we believe we are. See, your personality creates your personal reality. I'm going to say that again. It's worth repeating. Your personality creates your personal reality. This is why your identity is so important. What you identify as and what you believe about yourself, you are unknowingly loyal to the identity that you already have inside you. Is it, oh, I'm broke, I'm overwhelmed, I'm unworthy? Or is it, I'm great, I'm amazing, I have all the things that I want to have. See, you're not addicted to procrastination. You're addicted to being the kind of person who procrastinates. Do you see the difference? And I'm guilty of this type of stuff as well. Everybody, I don't care who you are in this world, if you're a multimillionaire, billionaire, or if you're struggling to get by, it all boils down to what you identify with. And this is the key to this is that everybody can level up no matter where you are. There's always another level. And if you just take the time to look around, you will see that. And you can level up through confidence. See, confidence by evidence is a really big way to do this. See, real confidence doesn't come from believing in yourself. It comes from proving it to yourself. Confidence will come with evidence over time. And this is all through a mirror of repetition. Sorry, tongue-tied there for a little bit. Repetition is the mother of all learning and the father of all action. It's just going ahead and doing the same thing over and over and over again and act like your identity depends on it, because it does. And just act like the way you want to see yourself until your mirror catches up. You want to be closer? You want to start closing the small stuff? Well, reps matter more than hype. We've talked about this. Your inner economy drives your outer reality. Jim Rohn talked about this all the time. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. You'll never earn more than you believe that you're worth. This is why, belief is such a powerful thing. Bob Proctor was big on this too. You were born rich. You just haven't claimed it yet. When you upgrade you, everything else changes by default. Look, I had to change what I tolerated from myself, and I still am looking to level up every single day. That was the beginning of the growth, is when you sat there and you looked in the mirror and decided, hey, today's the day. Matter of fact, I challenge you, if you're near a mirror right now, or if you're not, go into the bathroom or wherever the mirror might be, shut the door behind you, and I want you to have a little private moment to yourself. If you can't do this right now, take a moment to do it later or whatnot, but I want you to do this exercise. I learned this when I was at a seminar called Bold Driven Leadership, and we looked into a mirror, and I want you to just place your hand on that mirror and look yourself dead in the eye and stay silent. And just look deep into your eye, deep into your soul, and start looking at what you see. All the things that you've been through, all the things that you believe about yourself. What lies have you told yourself? What truths have you told yourself? What are you tolerating from yourself? This is a really powerful exercise if you take it seriously. And this all helps boil the self-identity. And I know we're unpacking a lot here with the self-identity. Some of this might feel repetitive, but there's a purpose behind what I'm saying, because this is all stemming from the things that create the actions. You know, a lot of this is just a matter of reminding, because you already know this stuff. I know you do deep down. You already do. But it's a matter of reminding yourself the things that you shouldn't be tolerating from yourself. And I'm talking to myself here as well. There are times, I don't know about you, but there are times where I just get done doing something and I'm like, man, why did I just do that? When self-conscious, subconscious takes over, and all of a sudden you're like, man, what just happened there? And you start becoming super self-aware of the things that you say, the things that you do, and every time you step into a new room, your old identity will beg you to walk back out. It's the comfort zone, because it's comfortable being who you already know who you are. But when you learn something new about yourself, you learn new levels of discomfort, and those new levels of discomfort become new comfort eventually. as long as you stay in the room long enough to normalize the next version of you and say goodbye to the old version that no longer is serving you. You can borrow belief from mentors, coaches, community until it's yours. Just being here in this room with me, in the car, or wherever we're at together right now, you can borrow this belief, or maybe you can feel a certain vibe coming through your speakers or your earbuds or whatever from me, because I believe you're capable of doing it, and I know you believe you're capable of doing it as well. If you just never been the kind of person who belongs in the room that you're in, stay there until you are. Even if it's just stay here with me. Because I believe you're capable of doing it. So this is the challenge that I have for you today. Write down 3 beliefs about yourself that are keeping you stuck and flip them into identity declarations. It could be, hey, I'm not good at sales. Turn that into, I'm learning to lead conversations with confidence. Or I'm learning to transfer belief on the phone or in person. The other one might be, I'm not a finisher. Turn that into, I follow through even when it's uncomfortable. Then live into those lines that we're saying for the next 30 days. Whatever it is, we all, no matter what level, and I've been at all kinds of different tables and all kinds of different levels, and I promise you, these people that are way further along than you are just people, man. They're just people, and they have insecurities too. They have self-doubts as well, and it's a matter of not leaning into the self-doubts, and everybody has a different level that they can level up to. Now, I want to call you guys to action. I want you to make a shot call, a rally cry, whatever you want to call it. See, your identity is the ceiling, and the good news is you've built it. See, which means you can break it. I want you to break through the identity that has been holding you back. And if you got it in you, I want you to just rally cry out there. Find me on social, tag. You can go to uncommonedgepodcast.com. You can be on the show. I would love to have you here. And if this is something that you're still struggling with, I want you to reach out. Reach out to someone that really cares. Reach out anywhere that you can, and I'm going to be here for you every step of the way. And remember, the most uncommon edge you'll ever find is the one inside you. So until next time, stand out and stay sharp.